Okay, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining our digital workshop. Today we are going to discuss the basics of filming, recording, publishing process of digital storytelling, and then we will summarize all the points that we made throughout this month. So let's get started. Okay, as we have discussed in our previous workshops, digital storytelling consists of 8 basic steps, which are developing an idea, planning, outlining, scripting, storyboarding, filming, recording, finishing, final touch, publishing, sharing, and reviewing parts. So with you, we have developed, mapped our ideas. We have planned our outline, and then we started writing our scripts. Some of you have sent me your scripts, and I have sent you back with feedback, and I should tell that some of you made a really good job. Then last lesson, we talked about the storyboarding process of digital storytelling. I show you examples of storyboarding, and some of you made simple storyboards, but I'm still on the way of other works. So I hope that this week you will be submitting your storyboards. So today we will discuss filming and recording process and publishing, sharing, reviewing steps with you. So detailed information or detailed tutorial on how to work with softwares will not be provided this time because we have been discussing it every month. And if you need further tutorial on that, you can go back to our previous workshop videos, which can be found on American Center Tashkent YouTube channel. And you can watch them if you need further guidance. So today we will talk about the basics of filming and recording. Filming and recording is essential part of digital storytelling, digital story creation. And this part is totally up to you. It can be really interesting, and based on your skills and your experience, you can use a variety of effects in order to create a digital story that you have aimed to create. So, well, depending on what type of digital story you are creating, you can use a variety of approaches to this process. Sometimes you may want to film yourself or a storyteller if you are creating the story for someone else, or you can make it as an interview. If you would like to tell your experience of language learning from your point of view, and if you are brave enough to appear before the camera, if you would like to film yourself, then you can go ahead and start taking video of yourself and making this video even more personal. So for this step, you will need some tools, including a way to record video and audio. Well, you will need video camera, microphones, and in our previous workshops, we have discussed type of microphones, type of cameras, lighting, and how to adjust your video recording process. If you need further guidance on this, please go back and watch our previous videos. So now, you can certainly use a smartphone or a tablet, but actual professional camera and microphones usually give you better results in the quality of digital story that you are creating. So for the purposes of this workshop, any kind of gadgets are welcome. So you can use whatever you have under your arms. We do not require you to purchase any new items. So try to make the most of the devices that you have. Well, before recording, practice using the tools so you know how to use them. Film in a quiet place and make sure the lights are bright enough to see the person, but not too bright that they appear washed out or phased. So if you are using a microphone, move it to the position to get the best sound, usually about 7 inches, which means 21, 24 centimeters from speaker's mouth. So this will give you an ideal sound quality. Well, if you are filming someone rather than yourself, show the person where to look at a camera and talk with them about how you will start and stop the filming. Well, actually, filming requires a few takes. It means brief test shots in order to work out any issues with sound, video, or delivery. Don't worry about making small mistakes, as you can fix them later. Using the software programs, you can cut your videos, you can edit your videos, so small mistakes will not be a problem at all. If you will be recording audio, remember to test the tools before you start recording, because sometimes noise may accompany your sound, and then the sound quality of your digital story will not be very high. Well, there are some tips I would like to provide for you before you appear in front of a camera. So, first of all, try practicing your questions and answers aloud before the interview, especially when you are creating a digital story in a foreign language. Well, keep clothing simple and try to be you. Avoid any kind of busy patterns or clothes that you will feel uncomfortable. Avoid noisy jewelry, attire. This can disturb microphones and can be distracting to viewers as well. So stay as simple as possible. Of course, be relaxed and have some fun. Well, make sure that your message touches the audience. Make sure that you are telling it from the heart. So try not to fake it. So try to be as realistic, as relaxed as possible in front of the camera. Okay, so when you are editing and putting everything together on a software programs, the types of the programs we will discuss later, you would like to add some visuals and audio parts together. So first of all, you should know that the components of digital story are divided into visual and audio parts. Well, digital stories can have different visual and audio options. You can use photos, you can use video clips, you can use text on the screen, you can use voices, background music, video of the storyteller, interviews, and etc. These things add interest to a story and help give attention to certain things. First of all, we'll talk about visual parts. These parts include taking photos, videos, scanning old photos or drawings, collecting images and materials from other locations. And audio parts include recording and editing voices, recording or finding music or sound effects for your story. Well, always try to stick to the limits and abilities of your video tools so you can plan properly in the storyboarding phase. Example tools of the list will be discussed on the coming slide. So you should also be aware of copyright rules. While it's tempting to include photos, music, videos you have found on the web, many of these items may be protected by copyright. If you plan to use things you have found online, get permission first. You can contact the owner directly or try to contact the site where you found the content. You should also cite your sources so the owner gets credit and the viewers know where the material came from. There are many ways to cite work. You could cite it in a video, create a caption for a photo, whatever works best for your story format. Well, if you would like to read some more information about fair use and copyright laws, you can visit the website below. So that's www.copyright.go. And this website will give you enough information on copyright issues. So things you should be careful about when using the content from the internet. Okay, now it's your turn. As a group, I would like you to discuss your resources. Well, what tools do you have? So what tools do you need? First of all, take a look at the devices you are using. What is that? Do you have a laptop, a tablet, or a simple phone? So what kind of devices are available to you for the purpose of this story? And then what tools you may be required? Maybe your phone is just not enough. Maybe you will need personal computer or some software programs, or you may need some other editing tools. So make sure before you start filming and recording process, try to make a list of items you need and try to check what items you already have and what items you need to download or purchase or borrow maybe. Well, and then try to think about visual and audio parts. Well, are you including sound clips, photos, or music? What are they and where will you get them? How will you add them to your story? So try to look at your storyboard from bottom to the top, which means that you will have to take a look at every part. So what clips, photos, music are included there, and do you have all of them downloaded and neatly organized in a folder? If you need some more tips on organization of downloaded data, we had a session on this, and you can watch this session to get some more information. Last but not least, prepare and test. Remember, to film or record a few tests makes your story quality better. So never be afraid of testing. Don't start right away. First of all, perform some tests in order to check the sound quality, if everything works together, if the video quality is okay, and then you can start recording yourself. Well, and after you have filmed and recorded your story from your perspective, maybe you don't feel comfortable enough recording yourself in a video. Maybe you are just using pictures and audio as some of our participants do. Whatever you choose to do, make sure that everything is ready before you come to editing process. So editing is the final phase of storytelling process, and it's where the planning and recording comes together. This is where you combine visual and audio parts to create a final product. Here you have to again choose the right tools. There are many tools available to make and share stories. It's not limited to any particular technology. Storytellers do not have to use professional tools, especially for the purpose of this digital storytelling workshop. Sometimes a smartphone is all you need, because today smartphones are going further and further, and they have all extra effects that you need. Well, free software or applications might fit your needs well, just as well as or better than paid software or apps. Mostly you want to find a tool that matches the purpose of the project, the skills of the storytellers, the available resources, the needs of the target audience. So make sure that you are using the right tools. And also there are many resources available on the internet at your local library, or maybe even in your circle right here. So some of the participants can give you very helpful tips on how to choose and how to use right tools. Well, so before you start using any tool, you can ask our participants tips on that tools. And I'm sure that some of you have already experienced creating digital stories. So your reflections, your feedback will be really important and helpful for each other. Okay, so there are some helpful tools for those of you who are new in our workshop. Well, some storytellers might already be comfortable with certain tools, software, or apps. In my case, it's actually the video program. So I really like using this software program. I'm sure that you have your personal favorite as well. So others might be new to digital storytelling, and you might be nervous about the learning curve. So the good news is that there are many tools available for digital storytelling that provide basic features and a novice can typically master in a short period of time. So most of the software programs come with a tutorial. You will not have to be worrying about how to use them. So every step will be accompanied by tutorials, so you will not have a hard time to manage software programs on video editing. So the tools listed in the following tables are commonly used for novice to intermediate level computer and app users. They provide basic tools to edit and produce videos on different platforms, like if you are using Mac, PC, or mobile devices. And there are also many options available beyond this list. And some of the available additional lists have been provided in previous workshops. Well, okay, so you should go ahead and use any tools that you feel comfortable with. So here's some helpful tip for you. This video editing, audio recording, and photo editing software programs are free, and sometimes they have premium costs, but mostly their basic effects are available for free, and you can use them to create in order to create digital stories. So if you're not aware about video editing software you can choose. So you can probably use iMovie or Windows Movie Maker. It's available for free on every computer. So you can use Animoto, Blender, and these programs usually are free and they provide free tools for editing your videos. Well, they steep learning curve and they make your working process really easy. For the purposes of audio recording, you can use Audacity or SoundCloud program or any program that you have in your smartphone or in your laptop. For photo editing, you can use Aviary, Paint, and Pixlr. And also, I recommend you Canva. It's also a very useful photo editing software program. So these are just basic suggestions. You may go ahead and search for some new types of items, or you may already have different types of software programs available for the use. Okay, so now, well, in the chat, please share some information about what tools do you usually use when you create digital stories? Or if you haven't created any digital story yet, what tools do you have or do you plan to use in your future digital storytelling process? Well, can you please share what tools you find useful? So I'm sure that your tips, your feedback will be very helpful for other participants who are new to this workshop, and based on your suggestions, they can choose right tools. So please discuss with each other what kind of tools you have or you use and what tools you recommend, what tools are free and available. Just discuss it with each other so that others will learn from your experience. Okay, now we are on to the publishing and sharing process. Well, the very first goal of digital story is to be shared. So sharing is actually initial goal of a digital story. So you have to make this process as smoothly as possible. Before you publish your digital story, try to watch it, try to show it to someone else, try to get feedback on that. Make sure that it's ready to be published. Now, okay, first of all, you can create a home online, which means once your video is done, you have to save it somewhere. Video files are usually very large, often too large to share via email. So optimally, the home will be online, such as a personal website or a blog or social media page, video-specific hosting tools such as YouTube, Vimeo, Vistia, and etc. So it's useful to create a home base for the video and share links with people to view it. Well, in our workshop, we usually use YouTube, and it's very easy to share your videos on YouTube, and links can be shared basically with any social networks. So you can actually upload your video on YouTube and later share links with each other once you feel that your digital story is ready to be shared. Then there should be there should be access to your video. When you are uploading video, make sure that you make it accessible to your targeted audience. The video sharing site YouTube is not only a free and common way to publish your story online, but it also offers tools to make sure your video is accessible to people who may have disabilities and use assistive devices. So you can include a typed transcript to be published with your video, and transcripts appear as closed captioning on YouTube's website. So you can use any extra services this kind of software programs offer, and it will make your digital story even more accessible. Now, you have to make sure that you engage your audience. So digital stories are great for reaching people through social media. Compared with text or image posts, social media posts that include videos receive more interaction, such as likes, comments, and shares. So hashtags is one way to make your video popular on both Facebook and Twitter, anywhere. So Hashtags are used to mark keywords or topics and categorize posts. You can use several hashtags to link your digital story to the conversations on behavioral health. For example, in our case, language learning, second language learning, and etc. So as you are creating a digital story about the advantages of the language learning, or you're reflecting your own language learning process, well, you can talk about language learning, English, and other hashtags can be really useful for you. So hashtags will make your video accessible for those people interested in this kind of hashtags. So it's one way to make your video accessible for a large audience. Okay, so before you start publishing, you have to consider what video home are you going to choose. Do you have a YouTube account? Are you going to use YouTube? Or do you have any other video hosting software in mind? So make sure that you already have one. And then also you have to share your story from that video hosting website. So using the links, you will be sharing your video that's uploaded on YouTube, for example. So where can you share it? Do you have a Facebook account, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, or others? So make sure that you already have lists before you start sharing. Well, and also think about people who can help your story to reach your target audience. So here your fellow participants can be a really good option. By emails or here in the chat, you can share your video links with your participants of this digital storytelling workshop, and they will make your video accessible to even a larger audience. Okay, so after you have successfully filmed, recorded, published, and shared your story, so your job doesn't end right there. So it means you have further job to do. You will have to now reflect on your story. How does it feel to tell your story? So how do you feel about responses from others? So the comments, views, and how will you use this experience to move forward in your next digital stories? So after you share and you observe your video for 7-10 days, please take time to fill in this survey form and share it with us. So how many likes did you get? What kind of comments were really helpful? And what responses made you nervous, probably? So try to follow up on your story. And here we come to the reviewing process, which is the final stage of the creation of digital story. Now you have made and shared your story. Would you like to know what sort of impact you had? Did you achieve the goal that you had in mind? Start with your original goals for the project. As you remember in the very first lesson, this month we discussed about the developing ideas and we put the question of what is the goal of your story. So read your answer once more. What did you hope to do? And did you achieve this hope? So how many people viewed your video, where those people are located, and many other details can be really helpful in order to answer to this question. You can also review comments to see how your story is being received and shared. There is no single measurement that defines how engaging your digital story is, but there are many things you can review to see if your video did what you hoped it would do. Reviewing your work doesn't mean comparing your digital story to another person's digital story either. It's a measure of how well you met your goals. So review your goals, review your objectives, and try to measure how much did you achieve with this story. So I'm sure that your language learning journey was very interesting, touching, engaging, helpful, and motivating for others. And I'm sure that if you give if you give enough energy, time, and work on that, you will achieve your initial goals. Okay, so after you have successfully shared and received comments on your story on the last day of our digital storytelling workshop, please try to reflect on these questions. Is your story reaching your target audience? So, is it being viewed? Is it getting people in a timely manner? And is it reaching the right people? So, your targeted audience. And how are you going to gather this information? And what did you find out? What did you learn from this process? So please think about these questions until the next time, because next time we will have a discussion summary workshop, and we will be discussing these questions with all of the participants. So, and also reflect on the results you have achieved with this digital story. So what are the takeaways from the message you are trying to tell? How did the audience understand the message? Did they feel motivated? Did they feel the need for learning the foreign languages, and etc.? So how did the message you put into your story change their habits or opinions? What do you think? And how did the story impact the view towards something? Maybe change the views of the audience on something. In our case, it's mostly language learning this time, right? So please think about these questions, and next time we will be discussing these questions on our live session. Okay, so before we finish up with our final session, you have to make sure that you have the consent of the person before you release the video of others. So in our previous workshops, we had examples of digital stories that tells the story of some other people. These people are real, and the stories are real. And before using their photos, their videos, and information relating to them, make sure you have a consent from these people. So disclosure is more than signing a form. So it's about helping storytellers to understand the risks and benefits. So before you share someone's story, ask them their consent and explain them what kind of risks they may get. Sometimes they can get really, let's say, disturbing comments. So it usually happens when you share a story and you make it accessible to everyone. Some people may give you really discouraging comments. This can be one risk, for example. And also there are some benefits. You can find people who really understand your message and who really encourage you on your path, and etc. So you have to explain all of this to the storyteller if it's not your story. And also, if you are using someone else's story, make sure you explain them the detailed steps of the digital story. So what kind of photos will be used and what will be the initial message, and etc. And sometimes if you are making a story of let's say of a professional quality, then you may need to even get signed permission from storytellers. So sample consent form is included. I will send it as a file to our group, so you can use it as a sample if you would like to interview someone else for the story. Well, thank you for being with us, and we are reaching our final points. Digital Storytelling for Social Change workshop has been delivering lessons for almost 10 months now, starting from September. We have tried to teach you the basics of digital storytelling, and using a cooperation with you, we tried to make digital storytelling process reachable to you. And whatever information we had, whatever tools we had, we shared them with you so that you will have some information on what digital storytelling is and how you can incorporate digital storytelling in your English teaching classes, and etc. So this digital storytelling workshop, I hope that achieved its goal, and it has helped you to change your monotonous English teaching process, and it helped you to learn the basics of digital storytelling process and gave you necessary tools and digital skills so that you can use digital storytelling as a skill in your teaching experience. Now, there are some final important reminders. Well, this guide is developed with the help of samhis.go, which is digital storytelling for social recovery process website. So information used here can be related to them, and you can download other samples and useful information from that website. I will provide you with the website at the end. So, well, you can explore resources and select what works best for you always. You can develop a simple outline and storyboard and help you organize your thoughts and presentation. You can create digital story using simple tools like mobile phones, digital cameras, free apps. And also you can upload your story to the web, share it with your network and ask feedback from the people you trust or just any people, any target audience that you plan to. Well, using our workshop guide, you can make a compelling digital story that can be shared with family, friends, and community members, even with your learners, as most of us are teachers. It can help them understand that your story is an important part of your life and can be also encouraging for others. With the help of simple technology tools and tips for structuring your words, making your digital story is an exciting and rewarding project that can be shared and used in many ways. Your voice will bring the project to life. So go ahead and get started. And once you have that story that's compelling, you can share it with us so that we will further share it with our members on American Center Tashkent YouTube channel. And others will also feel themselves in your shoes. That's basically it. Thank you for being with us. Next time, we will have a summary session and we invite all of our participants who have been with us for 10 months, and we will be discussing the weaknesses and strengths of this workshop. We will be discussing the final processes. We will be discussing any questions that you might have in your mind. So the next session will be final summary session. And after this session, we will be saying you goodbye. We will be finishing up this workshop. And I hope that this workshop was helpful for you in many ways. If you have any comments, feedback, any questions, please feel free to email me anytime. You can post on our Facebook page. By the way, our Facebook page has reached already almost 400 members who constantly view our posts and get engaged. Thank you for this, and thank you for being with us. I will be seeing you in our next workshop, in our next session, which will be a summary session. Thank you so much. Take care and have a very good weekend ahead.